If you haven't tried chia pudding yet, this is definitely a great alternative to the typical carby and sugary breakfasts. But not only is it just an alternative, it totally stands on its own. It's just downright delicious and so good for you. The chia pudding has layers of fresh ripe mango, of course your pudding, and then it also has some granola and drizzle of raw honey. I mean, no one-dimensional breakfasts here, just so full of flavor and texture. I love it. I recently learned that the breakfast that my kids have been eating at school is essentially like packaged cinnamon rolls and really sugary cereal. And I wasn't expecting it to be the healthiest breakfast. I really want them to start off the day with something a little bit more nutritious. So we're gonna meal prep some chia pudding. I'm gonna stick that in the refrigerator and then we can just have them to grab and go for the rest of the week. But first we're gonna make some coffee. I feel like anytime I tackle on a meal prep, I have to make sure that I am adequately caffeinated, just because there's a lot of mental energy as well as physical energy that goes into it. But no, for real, I mean, I drink coffee multiple times a day, but my first is always a double shot. I love making it in my Breville espresso machine. As you can see, there's a lot of different gadgets involved. I did not realize until after I bought this machine just how much accessories come with it. It doesn't come with the machine, you have to buy them separately and you have to research and learn how to use each one. It took a good 6 months and now I feel like I'm finally, not expert, but you know, pretty proficient at making myself a cup of espresso. This is not the best pull I've ever had, but it will do. I'm going with an iced coffee today, a little squeeze of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm using this cashew milk. My go-to non-dairy milk has always been soy milk. I just love the flavor and I find that it has a really good amount of protein as well compared to some of the other non-dairy milk, but this cashew milk was surprisingly pretty delicious. Alright, so now it's finally time to make our chia pudding and we're going to start with a little bit of milk. You can use any milk of choice and we're going to add in the chia seeds. And because this is like mango chia pudding, I wanted to give it a little bit of tropical flavor, so we have some coconut milk and then I sweetened it with some maple syrup. Use a whisk to get everything nice and incorporated and then we're going to stick it in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. And we're going to take it back out and give it a second whisk. And this is really to prevent the chia seeds from clumping together. I mean, the last thing you want is for someone to get like a mouthful of chia seed clumps. It's just not very pleasant. So to prevent that, that second whisk is pretty essential. So I went and cut my mangoes the other day, but let me go ahead and walk you through my process. I know there's so many different ways to peel and chop mango, but this is just how I do it. I have found using a vegetable peeler to be very effective. I feel like you get the most even peel that way. And once it's peeled, you pretty much cut around the pit, starting with the cheeks, so like the fatter, flatter side of the mango, and then taking on the sides. Because I'm using it for the chia pudding, I'm chopping them up pretty small into like 1/2-inch cubes. This is the part for me to snack on later. And for this recipe, we are using 2 ripe mangoes. And just be very careful because depending on the ripeness of the mango, they can be pretty slippery. So you just want to watch out when you're chopping. And of course, I never waste the pit. It's the best part. Most people probably toss it, but I just love gnawing at it. It's so sweet in the middle, and you do get the little strings stuck in between your teeth, so definitely floss afterwards. So our pudding has set in the fridge for a few hours. I would say at least 2 hours, preferably overnight to get the best firmness, but I prefer my pudding a little bit on the looser side. If you want a firmer consistency, then use a little bit less milk in the beginning, so maybe like 1/2 or 3/4 of a cup in the very beginning instead of the 1 cup of milk. And then we just go ahead and assemble our pudding cups. And to really give this dish an even greater nutritional boost, I recommend using raw honey if you have it. I love getting this raw honey from Costco. The chia seeds and mangoes are also from Costco. I feel like for the quantity, it's a pretty great deal. This recipe yields exactly 6 of these single serving containers, but if you wanted to double your yield, go ahead and adjust the recipe accordingly. So if you've never had chia pudding before, the overall consistency and mouthfeel is very similar to tapioca pudding. You can taste like the little crunch of the seeds in the middle, which is actually very pleasant. It's not off-putting in any way. Just remember this does have coconut milk, so if you're a little bit sensitive to that coconut flavor, which I understand some people are, then just substitute it with plain milk. As always, the full recipe can be found on my website. I'll provide the direct link in the description box below. Hope you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know what I should make next.